everyone, this is Carol Ann, and I want to welcome you to the American Whovian Fangirl podcast. This is my podcast dedicated to the Doctor Who universe and all of sci-fi and fantasy. And tonight I am going to be talking about Peter Capaldi's debut as the Doctor in Deep Breath, which aired this past Saturday. I've been thinking about doing this show for the past 48 hours or so. During that time, I have watched Deep Breath for a total of 4 times. So I really wanted to get my head around it, try to become objective, because the very first time watching it, it's like, whoa, there's so many thoughts running through your mind, and then then watching it again, you're starting to like nitpick a little bit. And then the third and fourth time, I really started getting the show. I'm not going to get into any like theories of what you think this is or that is or whatever. I am going to give spoilers. So if you have not seen it, please stop watching now and watch after you've seen it. Because I don't want to hear any comments about you're not seeing it before and I ruined it for you. So let me get right into the beginning. Basically, as you all know, in the Doctor regenerated on Trenzalore, and when Peter Capaldi, when Matt Smith regenerated into Capaldi, or 11 regenerated into 12. You got the impression that the TARDIS was crashing, because of the Doctor not remembering how to fly the TARDIS. That's how it basically ended. Well, now we're in like the Victorian, London. Madame Vastra, Jenny, and Strax are there, and basically there's a T-Rex dinosaur moving about London. One of the very first scenes you see is the head of the T-Rex like looking at Big Ben. It's pretty cool. It was a cool scene. The T-Rex really didn't serve much of a purpose other than bringing the Doctor to that time. And then the dinosaur starts coughing and spits out the TARDIS, and the TARDIS like lands there. I guess it's on the bank of the Thames River and stuff, and basically that's how this whole adventure begins. It was a funny introduction. The first time, you see Capaldi in this episode, basically Strax goes up there and knocks on the door, and, the Doctor, like, sticks his head out and, swishes him. It was kind of comical, it was funny, lighthearted. Then, Peter Capaldi's Doctor goes into this whole big rant, kind of very disoriented, mind going all over the place, not recognizing Clara, mixing Clara and Strax, and making some funny comment how they're the same height. Points to Madame Vastra and is basically, oh, you're the green one, and then points to Jenny and you're like, not the green one, it's kind of comical, and then he faints, not unlike what David Tennant's Doctor did when you first saw him in Christmas Invasion. He basically did the same thing. He comes, belting out of the TARDIS and does this tiny little rant and then like faints, so everything's kind of cool, and then you're introduced to like this like bad guy monster type of thing. It's basically a robot, that half of his face is a robot and the other half is like human looking, so you're thinking it's like some kind of cyborg or something. I'll say this right now, it turns out to be the the clock androids from or clock robots from Girl in the Fireplace, which is kind of cool, seeing them back. And basically they come from the sister ship of the Madame de Pompadour ship. I mean, it was cool, but it's really not that important. There are some things that show up later that kind of ties it in, but basically what these things were doing was, and this was kind of humorous, like half, like a little bit into the show, you find out that there's this family restaurant called Mancini's, which I got like a total kick out of. I wonder if BBC is going to be giving out royalties for using the family name. For a lot of people, yours truly, my family name on my mother's side is Mancini, so yeah, I got a real big chuckle out of that. I was like, but anyway, basically these, the clock androids are, like trapping people in this restaurant, and they're basically harvesting their organs so they can like build themselves, so that way they can look more human. It is kind of funny how, like, the leader looks less human than the others, but you get the idea that they've been on Earth since the time of the dinosaurs. Because one thing that pisses me off is they ended up killing the dinosaur. They burned it alive. Basically, they ended up getting like what was it, an optic nerve material that they use for their circuitry, whatever, it's like blah blah blah, but that was kind of like the subplot. I mean, it was important, but what was really important here was the doctor and seeing how this doctor is going to be. Peter Capaldi was awesome. I mean, he gave a perfect performance, if you want to argue near perfect, but he was awesome. Right off the bat, we know that unlike David Tennant and Matt Smith's doctor, which I like to say are all like cuddly wuddly, like puppy dog eye, Time Lord type people, like puppy Time Lords, with those big beautiful little eyes and all sad and emotional and, stuff like that. So, where you can instantly fall in love with. With Capaldi's character, he's not going to be all like cuddly wuddly. He's going to be to the point, a little bit harsh, kind of. I have not seen too many episodes of the classic series. I've made that clear a zillion times. I'm more of a new Doctor Who fan, although I really respect and enjoy watching the classic series. But from what little I've seen, I could see like shades of Colin Baker's Doctor, who was very brash. You could see shades of Tom Baker as well. So I think it's like Tom Baker, Colin Baker, maybe, a little bit of, the older ones too. Like, I remember seeing some with the second Doctor, Patrick Troughton, and, where he's, the episodes that I've seen, he was like really impatient, where he would almost like, he sometimes like yell at his companions. The ones that I was thinking of is like, I think it was Victoria or something, she was like, but it's a totally different direction that I believe Peter Capaldi is going to bring us, and I think that's very important for the show moving forward, going from these doctors. You had Christopher Eccleston, who, yeah, he was a little bit more alien, than Tennant and Smith, but he also cared. He wasn't all like cuddly, but he was like more like the cool, alien. Then you had, Tennant and Smith. They were both very, really caring and loving, and you can instantly fall in love with them. And the companions like instantly like, wanted to be with them. And now you have like this other doctor that's totally like, people keep saying darker. I really don't see it as being darker. Darker would be, there was a scene in Deep Breath where the doctor and Clara are in the bottom basement or whatever of that Mancini restaurant, and they're escaping, but Clara was a little bit too slow, and the door shut behind her. So it was like the doctor was looking on one side of the door, and Clara was looking like where, she wasn't safe, and the doctor like left her. Now obviously the doctor showed up later, and rescued her, yada yada. if he was truly dark, he would have left her, you know. That would have been a dark doctor. I don't like the word dark, because dark means, like, to me, dark is like sadistic, evil, not caring, you know. This doctor cares, but he's going to be a little bit more like in your face, and he's going to be more blunt. He's you know how you have like somebody that you're friends with, but they're like so annoying, you know, that you really don't like them as much as you like other friends. It's going to be that kind of relationship, I think, where you're going to have like a lot of respect, and you're going to care for that person, but it's not going to be all like hug hug, you know, type of thing. So anyway, I really think this was, you know, a great first start. The moment that I started really enjoying Capaldi's doctor was when they were in the restaurant together, before they figured out there was all these robots and stuff, and it was like the longest interaction he had between Clara and the doctor at that point, where they were together by themselves. And it was really good dialogue. Everything was perfect. The look on Capaldi's face was like, you know, where he was trying to figure out, is Clara gonna like accept him for who he is, because Clara was having a real hard time. There was like scenes with Madame Vastra. There was one scene between Madame Vastra and Clara where basically Vastra like freaking told, you know, Clara off. It was awesome, and then Clara got all like, you know, pissed off too. So it was a really powerful, significant scene. Strax was incredible. You were like laughing your head off throughout that. There was one scene, you know, the scene that I loved the most was when Clara was up on the like top floor or whatever, and you know, Strax was like, "Oh, do you want the Times?" And she's like, "Yeah," and you know, chucked the paper at her and smacked her in the head. I mean, that was like, I ended up missing like the next like 30 seconds of dialogue because I was laughing so hard. But I mean, it was awesome having those guys in there. I really think that helped with the show and make it entertaining and stuff like that. You know, but that scene in the restaurant, that's when I started saying, okay, he's the doctor. But the scene that I love the most, I actually had some friends over, and one of them, I forget who said it, said, well, the doctor doesn't drink, but it doesn't matter. There was a scene where it was the bad guy, and the doctor. They were in like this escape pod type of thing, which is basically a balloon made out of human skin, and the bad guy turns around and sees the doctor sitting there, and the doctor's pouring 2 drinks, one for him and one for the bad guy. And I've never been good at memorizing lines in whole, but the doctor basically says, you know, I have a feeling that I'm going to have to kill you, so why don't you have a drink? I know I would, you know, and or I know I would want to, you know. And the way he said that, I was like, oh, wow, holy crap, you know. I mean, basically, I was, if the doctor uses guns, I was expecting him to take out a machine gun and blow the guy away, you know. I mean, it was like so awesome. And yes, the doctor doesn't drink, but that's not the point. And how do you know this doctor doesn't drink? Because if you remember the episode, what was it called? Green Death, with the third doctor with John Pertwee, when Joe Grant was leaving. At the very end, you know, Joe Grant was like marrying this hippie scientist dude, and they were having like a little celebration, and you see the doctor sitting there at the bar, and he was drinking, you know. So yeah, so why wouldn't our doctor drink? You know, yeah, I mean, David Tennant said he didn't drink. Matt Smith said he didn't drink. I mean, he did that funny thing where he would like drink and then spit it out, you know, but, you know, and then drink it again, you know, so that was humorous. But why can't this doctor drink? Why not? You know, it's not like he's never drank before. You know, as long as he, like, you know, drinks and doesn't drive the TARDIS, I don't see a big deal with it, you know. I mean, it's time that, you know, we have a doctor that takes a drink once in a while from like some like whiskey or whatever. Who cares? as long as they make that point where he's not like getting like stone cold drunk or whatever. But I mean, I love that scene, and it wasn't because he poured the drink, it was just the look on his face and what he said. I have a feeling I'm gonna have to kill you. Where the other doctors would give him a warning, give him like these weird little warnings and stuff like that. And here Peter Capaldi's doctor was like, no, I'm gonna kill you, dude, have a drink. And another thing about this scene that made it so, whoa, this is the doctor, is they're fighting, and basically they're by the door of the escape pod balloon thingy, and doctor basically says, I really forget what he says, but basically it's this point where, how is this bad guy gonna die? Either the doctor is gonna kill him, or the robot is gonna commit suicide. The robot guy basically says, it's against my programming. And the doctor says, mine too. And then they're fighting and struggling, and then the doctor says, one of us is lying. Well, who was it? And then later on, it's a really cool scene where you see the hat that the bad guy was wearing, and then there's a church, and then it's panning up from the hat falling down. The camera's panning up. It goes to the top of this like church with the cross, and then the guy, the bad guy is like impaled, on the cross. So it's a very that was a really like dramatic, like cool scene. And then you see the doctor, and the look on the doctor's face was like, oh shit, So you really don't know, did the bad guy jump, or did the doctor push him? Personally, I would like to think the doctor pushed him. I think it's time we get like a doctor that gets his hands dirty, and instead of like having like other people like shoot the bad guys or kill the bad guys, it's time that he gets his hands dirty, as long as he's doing it for the right reason. I enjoyed it, and it was that scene which just said, okay, he is the doctor. Now, then you have all this blah, blah, blah stuff, and the doctor takes off, and then he comes back, and blah, 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 and, the TARDIS is a little bit different, not 100% different, but it's a little bit different. There's, like, more circly light things on there, and then there's, like, this cool bookcase, blah, 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 whippy. You knew the TARDIS was going to, like, change a little bit, because the TARDIS was crashing, so you knew it had to repair itself based on the 12th Doctor. So it really hasn't changed that much, from what I remember. It's pretty much the same. But then you had this whole thing with Clara, where Clara was basically saying, I don't know who the Doctor is. You got the impression where you were thinking, well, wow, is Clara going to leave? You knew she wasn't, but there's been rumors going around that she is going to leave, maybe at the Christmas special. Nothing's been, like, confirmed or denied, but whatever. So the doctor was basically saying, then I don't know, I forget what was happening, but it was some cool little dialogue going back and forth, as as you knew that the struggle here was Clara, where she wasn't accepting the fact that the 11 regenerated and here's 12. And then the phone rings, yadally, she goes outside. It's and it's Matt Smith. Now, we all heard about this rumor. We knew this was going to happen. I was kind of hoping it wasn't. And the first time I watched it, I was mad. And on the Real Whovians podcast, I forget what episode it was, like 405 or something, I basically said I did not like it. Well, since that time, I watched it again, and I really started thinking about it. And this is why I think they brought Matt Smith back and did this cameo. First of all, he filmed this during, what was it? The Day of the Doctor. He filmed it, oh, not Day of the Doctor, no, his last, the Christmas special. He filmed it while he was there, so it's not like he came back special for this scene. And he already had it filmed, and then, like, Jenna Louise Coleman had to, like, do it later. Whatever. Who cares? But anyway, what I think Moffat was trying to do was not only show try to get Clara to accept the Doctor of who he was now, but also get fans to realize, hey, this is how the show goes. And I've been thinking about this for the last 48 hours, and I hope I don't get any of my Whovian friends pissed at me. But you have to remember that as far as a lot of young Doctor Who fans, or I'm older, but I basically started watching it with Christopher Eccleston, David Tennant, and Matt Smith. As far as I'm concerned, those are the three Doctors. Those are the ones that I relate to the most. Those are the ones that I know about the most. I really know all the episodes. I'm not saying anything bad about 1 through 8, but I don't know much about it. I don't know much about the classics. There's a lot of fans out there that aren't even going to give them a chance because they're old. They're old shows. I'm giving them a chance. I'm trying to watch them as much as I can because I really enjoy it. When I do watch it, I enjoy it. You're not going to have that. You're going to have fans that are never even going to watch the first episode because they don't care. They want the way productions are done now. They're not going to watch, a TARDIS on a string or these like lame, monsters. That's the fact. See, one thing that's really special about Doctor Who is this show has been around for 51 years. This year it's going to be 51 years. That's a huge achievement. Even if you had that time during the 90s and shit where it wasn't on for a long time, it was still part of, English TV and pop culture and, like cult classics and, geeks and sci-fi fans. They still watched it on like VHS and stuff. So you have like these two factions. You have these factions that love the classics, love the current shows. They love everything about all the Doctors. And then you have some fans that only know Eccleston, Tennant, and Smith. And in a lot of ways, even though Tennant started getting everybody's attention, it wasn't until Smith that it really exploded, where it's all over the world now, not just in the United States, but it's all over the place. So a lot of fans only know Smith, and they were probably having a hard time, like I was having a hard time. Saturday morning, I was like all nervous. I was like, oh God, I wonder if I don't like, Capaldi, and I stopped watching the show because, I have become kind of obsessed with Doctor Who, and Smith was my very first Doctor from regeneration to regeneration. So the more I thought about all this stuff, I get it. I get why they brought Smith back. It really worked. And what really made that scene work more so is what happened after Clara hung up the phone, where Capaldi had this really moving speech, basically saying, how do you think I feel when you look at me and you can't see me because you're seeing somebody else. You're not seeing who I am. I'm the Doctor. He didn't come out and say, I am the Doctor. He was basically saying, how do you think that makes me feel? That you're looking right through me, but you're not seeing me. And it was such an emotional, it was like, whoa, and then, Clara goes up to him and like is looking in his eyes and smiles. And then she accepts him as the Doctor. And okay, she's accepted him. They're going to be together as Doctor Companion. And now they're going to go on adventures. And then they went off down a Glasgow street and to go get coffee or whatever. And so bringing back Matt Smith, I really think it was a good idea. Originally I hated it, but now I like it. I think I said I hated it because it was just emotional seeing Matt back, because I was trying to get over him not being the Doctor anymore. But it worked, and I think it was really smart. It was brave. It was new. And now the show can move forward, and hopefully all fans all over the place who, are Whovians and say they're Whovians and Doctor Who fans can move forward and accept that this is how the show is going to be. That, we're going to have new Doctors. accept it. Now, after that all ended, all of a sudden you see that like Batty and some ladies like garden, and there was this lady named Missy, and I was a little pissed off about that. They should have just ended it and like gone into like some stupid like mind-blowing plot twist, in my opinion, the next episode, because there was so much to soak in, and then you're like having this, well, here is this person, because this person is like, oh, I like, this person knows who the doctor is, you know, she knows that the doctor now has a Scottish accent and all this other stuff, and you know, who is she? There's a lot of speculation going on who she is, who she isn't. You know, I'm a little pissed off about that, but you know, I really don't think they should put that in now, but hey, that's Moffat for you, trying to play mind games. I'm sure, you know, as time goes on, we'll all get our own opinions. You know, we'll see what happens, but I'm really happy with Capaldi. I'm really happy with his portrayal as the Doctor. I'm looking forward to the rest of the season. That's going to be bringing us into like what, the first like week or second week of November, and then we'll have like, you know, like just a month and a couple of weeks off, and then we'll have the Christmas special. So I'm really looking forward to this. I'm really psyched. You know, let me know what you guys thought. You know, if you agree with me, disagree with me, whatever. I'm really looking forward to this. So that's basically all I had to say. Oh, my final rating, you know, I originally gave it a 7. I am giving it a solid 8. You know, the reason why I'm not giving it, you know, a perfect 10 is because this was his first episode. And I want to leave room for like other perfect 10s. Although his performance was perfect 10, but the overall show, because there's some things that they could have left out, some dialogue that they could have left out here and there. Like I really think the scene with Clara being, you know, down in like that dungeon type room by herself, like getting, you know, being in danger, I think they drew that out a little bit longer. But you know, and also I was pissed off that they killed the dinosaur. So I'm giving it a solid 8. Although Capaldi's performance was a 10, but the episode itself was a solid 8. So let me know what you think. Thank you for listening. I know this went on a little bit longer than I normally have my podcast, but this was a very big, you know, moment, you know, because we got introduced to the 12th Doctor. So I really wanted to get everything out. Sorry if I rambled a little bit, but yeah, anyway, that's about it. So have a great night, everyone. If you ever want to join me on a show, let me know. If you have any ideas on a show or a topic, please let me know. I don't know if I'm ever going to get to doing, you know, American Whovian Fangirl once a week like I planned, but I'll definitely do it like at minimum once a month. You know, so, you know, shoot me an email or, you know, a comment, whatever, on YouTube or Facebook, whatever, you know, and let me know if you're interested. So that's about it. Have a great night, everybody, and be chatting soon.